when you fast, be normal. I was taught by my pastor to preach here when fasting for 40 days, and the people will not know. And that's what I did. There is a day I preached it to you, brethren, and I was on a 40-day fast. That was my 41st day. I had finished 40 days like yesterday, and I came, the next day was Sunday, and I didn't preach like somebody who has fasted for 40 days, like, brethren, I have not eaten for 40 days, so that you can be blessed. And that is a mistake we do in life. That's a mistake we do in life. John 4:32. Let's look at that and then come back to Matthew. John chapter 4 and verse 32. John 4 verse 32. There is food. When we fast, there is a food that is given. Let's see what the Bible says. Therefore, in the meanwhile, that is verse 31, his disciples prayed him. All disciples came and prayed him, please eat, please eat, please eat. They all prayed him, saying, Master, eat. But he said to them, I have meat to eat that you know not of. Let me read it in today's English. And I know that this is a very strange thing for some people, but it is true that Jesus said in verse 31, meanwhile his disciples urged him, Rabbi, eat something. But he said to them, I have food to eat that you know nothing about. It can only be known by people who fast. That when we are fasting, there is a special food that is given. Otherwise, explain to me, how can you fast for 40 days and you are still driving a car? I have ever driven a car for 200 kilometers while fasting for 40 days. I have ever traveled to Uganda and I was on a 40-day fast. On my 37th day, I arrived in Kampala. And nothing happened. It is just disappointment by the people who are waiting for me. When I told them that it is not possible for me to eat, but I have come to minister to you. I was on my 37th day. And I never ate in Uganda until I came back to Kenya and broke my fasting. And that is why when you are fasting for a long time, you should not again start eating food. Your stomach has become like a baby's stomach. You must start eating like a baby. Eat baby food. That means you only eat 1 spoonful of potatoes that are one spoonful of potato that is boiled. Because if you eat a lot, you'll go to the hospital. Because your stomach is like it has slept. It has forgotten how to digest. It doesn't know how to digest the acidity or the acid. You hear people with acidity problems, when they fast for a long time with water, they will never experience acidity again. Because acidity is brought about by the food we eat, by the digestion problems. Then there is acid. When we fast and we drink water, the acidity goes. You will not feel it anymore because there is nothing to manufacture acidity in you. It is food that helps you to manufacture this. So when you finish your days of fasting, like 3 days, you can't eat a chicken and ugali. It will not be digested. You have to eat soft things. And soft things is not a banana. A banana is a strong food. It is not an egg. An egg can kill you. It is protein. It is strong. You make sure you boil a potato. And don't boil 2, only 1. And don't boil a full sufuria of potatoes. You know, the head is telling you you can eat everything. Don't boil a chicken, please, I beg you, in Jesus' name. When you finish fasting, don't boil a chicken. You will eat it 10 or 15 days later. Hata ukitaka kukula nyingi utakula, but now you can't. Lazima upeleke tumbo yako polepole so that life can continue the way it was continuing. But if you eat at once, you will find a lot of problems have developed in your life, and probably you will end up in a hospital trying to get medication to help you digest, because all the chemicals that digest, they are finished in time of fasting. There is no chemical to digest. Your stomach is just flesh. So you have to build the chemicals again slowly, by eating a spoonful of vegetables. Especially when I fasted for 40 days, the 43rd day, I ate 1 spoon of green vegetables, and still I could feel them hanging somewhere in my stomach. Nasikia hiyo kijiko moja hapa ikiwa ina hang kama kagunia. It was not good. And then go on until and you don't take the juice that is made by the juice that comes from the supermarket. Most of these juices have additives and chemicals. So if you drink those, they will confuse your head. You have to drink fresh juice. So you have to take care of yourself slowly. Don't lash about eating things. Atlete supu, nakishwa, please. These things, you don't eat these things. You take time. You don't eat bread. Mukate ni gumu. Ukikula utasikia imekausha wewe mpaka kishwa. And that is why I'm advising you to read this book, the book on fasting. It gives you the list of the foods you can use to open a long fasting. And any fasting that goes beyond 3 days is long fasting. It is a big fasting. It must be, you must open that fasting very carefully. If you are not careful, you will be told by the devil to open your fasting with a bread like Jesus. The devil came to identify Jesus on opening fasting. And he told Jesus, these stones, make them into bread, then eat. If Jesus would have obeyed, he could have died from fasting. You can't fast for 40 days, then you eat bread, you will die. So Jesus did not. So it is good to know that the devil can tell you how to open. Dada yangu, hujakula kuku, shemsha. Kuku shemusha ati ni soft. Ni soft kwa watu wale wanakula chakula. Lakini kwa mtu hajakula chakula, kuku shemusha is very bad food. It can kill. Even supu ya kuku ni kali. So Jesus said, there is food that you know nothing about. I pray that God will give you that food if you have made a decision to fast. And we can fast because of spiritual dullness. If you feel spiritually you are not very sharp, it is good to fast. You can also fast for physical benefits because you have a disease that is brought about by food, or you have a problem of too much fat in your body. It is good to fast. Other than drinking a lot of demo and other chemicals, I would advise you fast. When you fast, all that fat will come out of your body. And building fat again will take time. You can't build fat again in 3 months. It will take time for you again to develop the same fat. Now, and that is why Jesus said, that is why God said that every year he has arranged how his people will fast. Why? Because he knew if they eat continuously, he will have a lot of sick Israelites. Eating continuously for a long time brings diseases and sicknesses in your life. Because the sukuma wiki you are eating has chemicals. Maana imekuzwa na fertilizer ama manure. Na manure ni mafi ya ng'ombe ama mbuzi. So it is not something that is edible. So when the fertilizer is put in the crops, and then you eat the crops, you will eat part of that fertilizer, whether you like it or not. When you eat fruits, there is fertilizer in it. And that is why when you fast and you are eating fruits, probably you have a partial fasting, that is what we call it. It should not exceed 7 days. If you eat those fruits more than 7 days, they start developing problems in your digestive system, because they have also been grown using fertilizers. And these fertilizers are deadly chemicals. They can kill. And so when you have a lot of intake of these fertilizers, then you get a problem. So the best fasting is fasting with water. It is fasting and drinking warm water. And you will not die. You will live to declare the glory of God. These people who are fasting and they are drinking tea, they are drinking milkless tea, and they are drinking maybe juices and other things, they should not go for wrong, because these things will interfere with your health. You can't give your body an unbalanced diet and expect to be okay, because drinking juice every day is an unbalanced diet. You will be affected. Drinking tea every day, you are not eating a balanced diet. Your body will strike back. It will bring problems. And we can even develop problems of having a very big stomach, because you are fasting and you are taking on a tea. Tumbo inakuwa kama nini? Ama unanenepa anywhere, because you are taking something that is not a balanced diet. Therefore the body tries to store it, then one part of the body swells and it becomes big, and mostly it is the stomach, others it is the feet, na others ni uso inanona. And I'm saying these things so that we can, when we are fasting, we should not show off. When you are fasting, you should not do what? Ya, na kusomea watu wale wanakula, unawapa msomo. Nyenye ni kukula tu, hamuna akili ingine, please. Ni wewe uko fasting, wachana na sisi tukule. Kwani una fasting inakuwa ni kama vita nyumbani? Sitaki hiyo kitu mnakaanga. Nyinyi mnakuwa majaribu, mnakuwa shaitani. Please don't make noise at home. Jifundishe kusikiliza mkaango na usiufuate. You can sense the smell of cooking meat, but don't follow it. In fact, you will develop the ability to abstain from food when you are seeing it. Don't try to hide. I don't want to see food. You know, no, see it. Go to the kitchen and see it and tell it, hatuonani na wewe until further notice. Na unaweza kumaliza fasting ya 7 days, usikia unataka kuendelea, endelea until God speaks to you. Paul and the people who are traveling with him fasted for 14 days. And those were unbelievers. They are not Christians. But because of the circumstances, they fasted. And the angel came to the ship and said, no one among you is going to die. They were able to stop the angel of death through 14-day fast. And therefore fasting is very important. And we see here that what we have seen in was, let me read it in today's English. When you fast, that is Matthew 6:16. When you fast, do not look sober as the hypocrites do. They disfigure their faces to show others they are fasting. So the only thing Jesus doesn't like is when you are fasting, you try to show everybody that you are fasting. If they will know because they don't see you eating what you normally eat, it's okay, but don't show off. And Jesus said that if you show it off in your face, I tell you, they have received their reward in full. That show off, and the people explaining that, this kind of comments from men and women is a payment you are receiving. God will not pay you. And fasting is supposed to be paid, rewarded by God. It is God who is supposed to reward you after fasting. But if you make a mistake, human beings will reward you for the fasting. I don't know what we are going to do because we have social media. Like now as I preach, my preaching is going all over. Because in the original days of Jesus, fasting was not announced to everybody. It was announced to believers only. It was something that was a solemn service. So you are going to be rewarded if you fast. But if you allow people to know what you are doing, there is no reward. Verse 17 says, but when you fast, put oil on your head. Yeah, that is Jesus. Upake mafuta kishwa. In those days, when the people fasted, they never put oil on their hair. So their hair, their faces became very dry, very cracked, and everybody could see they were fasting. But in the New Testament fast, we must put oil on our face. We must wash our face. Kwa hivyo hakuna kukataa kuoga kwa sababu una fast. Amen. Unajua kuna mahali fasting unafika mpaka mwili hautoe zile chemicals zinafanyanga upate ushafu. Unakuta ya kwamba umelala usiku mzima na hauna kaushafu hata kadogo. But wash, remember it is the instruction of Jesus. Uoge. Amen. Na wengine wakienda kuoga, karai kubeba maji unasikia, karai kana kuanga kazito hivi. Hata kulala wengine hawalali. Kupanda kwa kitanda inakuwa maneno. But this is according to your own psychology ya kwamba kwa sababu niko fasting sina nguvu ya kufanya lolote. But I would like to tell you that some people even in 40-day fast will work in a quarry making stones like other people. I have seen it with my eyes. The members of our church where we used to be, they used to fast for a long time, but they were working in a very difficult manual labor. And I found them working. I found them building. And I knew they were fasting for a long time. So please, don't develop weakness there and say, unajua, sasa sioni watu vizuri, nimeanza kuona watu wakiwa watatu. No, fast. Praise the name of the Lord. So ni wewe unaamua kama mtu mzima, you decide like an adult, like I will not eat, I will not drink for this period. And that is why I advised you earlier that when you decide to fast, total fasting is where you don't drink anything, you don't eat anything. We recommend you do it for 3 days. And if you are very strong, you can go up to 7 days. But we don't recommend it for 2 weeks like others do. And then they develop many problems. Because the flesh that we have today is not like the flesh they used to have there. So when you do total fasting for 7 days, you feel totally defeated. And therefore, if you are fasting, intake of much water is good. Drink much water. Don't drink very cold water because you are everything inside you is sleeping. The liver is asleep. It is repairing the damage you have given it over time by eating very difficult things and very hard things. Kuna kamfuko kengine kana kuanga hapa kwenye large intestines. Ukikula kachuma kana ingia hapo. Ukikula tu vitu tubaya tunaingia hapo. When you do wrong fasting kana empty, kana kuwa hakana kitu. Zinatoka zote.